All right, so where do I begin? Like, I do not even know where to start. Like, this Champions League semifinal stage, like, both legs, right? And even with both of the games, every game has been extraordinary. It has been one of the most entertaining, like, Champions League semifinal sets that we have seen in a very, very long time. And we are going to be here to talk about that because look, we saw Liverpool versus Villarreal and we saw Manchester City versus Real Madrid. Both games were very exciting. Not one leg was like boring, right? It wasn't like a game where we were like, yeah, okay, yeah, they won 1-0, they won 2-1, okay, whatever. Every game was entertaining and I just do not even know where to start. Like, I'm going to be talking about the Liverpool versus Villarreal game before I get into the match between Real Madrid and Manchester City. I'm going to be basically dividing everything down below on the timeline. Everything's going to be very well organized. If you do want to just skip to the match review of Real Madrid and Manchester City, you can so by going there on the timeline, just skip to that. But I want to talk about the Liverpool game versus Villarreal because it is going to be setting the stage of what I'm going to be talking about when it comes to Real Madrid and Manchester City. So welcome everybody, welcome to this brand new channel. I hope you guys are enjoying this little vibe that we have right here within this little channel. Hopefully we can grow later down the road, but right now our main focus, it is going to be on that match between Liverpool and Villarreal. And we're going to be talking about what did happen, what was the scoreline, and things of that nature. So look, Liverpool did win against Villarreal on that night 3-2. Globally, Liverpool did beat Villarreal 5-2. And let me tell you guys, this was a game where I would say that Villarreal, they fought well. They gave Liverpool a lot of trouble. I do think that in those dying moments, in those dying minutes of that second leg, in that second match, it was where Liverpool were like, okay, we really need to wrap this up. We cannot get knocked out by a team like this. We need to turn up. Because when it comes to this second leg, Liverpool in the first half, right, of this game, they did not really show up. They look very static. They look a little confused. They're like, okay, are we going to win this game? Are we going to be scoring goals? Like, they just look like they were not focused in a way. And this is where I do want to give my respect towards Villarreal, because when Villarreal knew that Liverpool were not on their A game, when we saw Liverpool not being 100% focused, when we saw Salah not really doing much, when we saw Mane not really doing much, or any other player within Liverpool's midfield, Villarreal really did capitalize off of those opportunities. Like, they were really firing from the very beginning of that game. Like, they even scored within the first 5 minutes of that match. And so that is what makes this Villarreal side so entertaining and so exciting. It's because they had the audacity to have a 2-0 lead in that second game. Like, yes, were they losing 2-0 coming into this match after they lost 2-0 at Anfield? Yeah, they were. But that did not mean anything to them. The fact that they had the motivation to score those 2 goals early against Liverpool, that is something that you just have to respect when it comes to a team like this. They really wanted to show up, even though maybe deep down inside them they knew that maybe they're probably not going to go through Liverpool. They still tried. They still try to show the fans that, yes, we're going to be here and give everybody here a show. And that is all I really do want when it comes to these type of teams, right? Like how we saw Ajax back in 2019. We want to see these teams do very well, fight against these very big teams. That is what we did see with Villarreal. And even if they won, great, right? If they pass against Liverpool and go into the final, great. But the fact that they have done this, they have caused chaos against this Liverpool side, that is something that is going to be remembered forever. And you do not even have to be a Villarreal fan. You can be a Barcelona fan, a Man City fan, a Tottenham fan, a Inter Milan fan. You're going to be respecting what Villarreal has done within this campaign. And so we saw them winning 2-0. And many of us were saying, okay, could they actually go into the final? Because Liverpool were not showing up. Like it does say here, according to these stats coming from The Athletic, we do have someone named James Pierce. He did call out the stats that Liverpool did put out on that first half. And it does say here that Liverpool's passing accuracy in the first half was just 66%, and they only won 46% of their duels. Usually, right, the team's passing accuracy in the first half of games, when it comes to Liverpool, within this season, had not fallen below 75%. 45%. So you can just tell that Liverpool were not on their A game for whatever reason. I do not know if they felt comfortable that they were winning already 2-0 and they're like, okay, let's just relax. Like, Villarreal is not going to be getting us at no point through this second leg. But they were wrong, right? They underestimated this side within the first half, and that was something very surprising towards me. But to basically sum it up on why I do think that Liverpool looked very static, it was because it was going to come down to two reasons. Point number one, I do believe that in a way they were very comfortable with that 2-0 lead. And point number two, you look at the positions of Villarreal and where Villarreal were within the first game at Anfield, and then you look at their position, their average position within the second game. You can look at Villarreal were much higher. Their positions were much higher. They pushed their defensive line much higher, and that is what harmed Liverpool within those first 45 minutes. It shocked this team. And so we also did see Liverpool's midfielder Fabinho always being locked down. Like, every time Liverpool were trying to build up and they had Fabinho take over the ball to really start that attack, there was always two forwards that were defending that defensive midfielder, and it was Parejo and Capu. And then every time Liverpool were trying to receive very deep, every time they sent Fabinho to go next to, let's say, for example, Van Dijk, and he received the ball, Villarreal were always ready to take the ball away from that player and really make him feel like he had no help. And then we saw Villarreal send their players like Dia and Jared Romero to go and attack Fabinho every time he did receive the ball. And so it gave Liverpool a very hard time to even get out in order for them to start their attack. It was a very disciplined side when it comes to this team. But this is where things really do change, right? Because now when we go into the second half, this is where the big, massive change does happen for Liverpool. It came to the point where we were like, okay, this is the time where Liverpool is going to be coming in. You can just feel it, right? You can just sense it, that Liverpool were really going to try and turn these things around because of their body movement, the way that they moved on the field. And just to basically describe how Liverpool did play in the second half, right, to get a result, Klopp did say something after that match was over, where they did win, obviously, and he said that when I went into that locker room, right, at halftime, and I spoke to my players after we were losing 2-0, I told these players that I want the headlines tomorrow within Spain that these mentality monsters have taken over Spain. That is what Klopp did say to his players. He said this, right, to the interviewers, to the media after the match was over. But man, let me tell you, did these players actually react to what Klopp was trying to tell them during halftime? Klopp wanted these players to be mentality monsters, and it really did work because of the way that they have turned around physically and mentally. What we saw was pure discipline. What we saw was pure football, pure reaction, and that was because of the magic of Jurgen Klopp, because of how he can set his players mentally and physically. And so when we saw that performance coming from Liverpool in that second half, it was like, okay, that is the Liverpool that we knew. That is the Liverpool that we saw for the past like 9 to 10 months. And what really changed within that second half was Fabinho, instead of him receiving the ball very deep, he was actually positioned much higher up the pitch so he can receive the ball easy and cause that damage and attack those attacking spaces. And so what ended up happening was basically Fabinho went up higher up the pitch, right? And then that allowed Van Dijk to go up even higher and fulfill that role of where Fabinho was supposed to be, like where he was at within the first half. And so because of that huge shift, Villarreal were asking, okay, what do we do? How do we lock down this player? He's receiving the ball much higher, but if we go attack him, if we go try and man mark him, we're going to be leaving players open on the right wing and on the left wing. What are we going to do? And of course, that is how Liverpool ended up scoring their first goal. Fabinho basically had the ball. He passed it towards Salah, who was wide open. Salah passes it back towards Fabinho, and then Fabinho scores the goal and puts the ball into the net. And from there on, we saw a machine, right? We saw a Liverpool that was functioning like, you're not going to be stopping us on the right wing, you're not going to be stopping us on the left, nor in the center, nor anywhere. We're going to be scoring more than one goal, and that is how it's going to go down. Like, you really just felt that with this Liverpool side. And their chances did increase. Like, for example, bringing up these stats coming from the exact same journalist, he has said that the passing accuracy has improved to 84%, the duels has improved to 66%, and Villarreal did not once see one shot on target in those last 45 minutes. So I was just looking at this, right, and I was seeing Liverpool score all of these goals. I'm like, okay, this is the reason why Klopp wants to extend. This is one of the reasons on why Klopp wants to be here for another 2 years. It's because he knows these players. He knows how to set them up. He knows how to set them up for success, right? You can just feel that family surrounding. You can feel that, okay, Klopp does have these players back, and these players are going to do exactly what Klopp is going to be saying. So So it's just a perfect match between the coach and this football club. And then just moving forward towards those last like 20 to 30 minutes, the goalkeeper just completely ruined it for Villarreal. Like, I have no idea what he was thinking. Like, for example, Luis Diaz got his first goal, right? He headed the ball. It went straight to the keeper. The keeper could have easily blocked it, but the ball went basically through his legs, and then it was a goal, right? Villarreal were in trouble. And then fast forward a couple of minutes later, we saw again the goalkeeper come out, right? He literally came out the box. He was trying to run to stop Mane, but Liverpool were too smart, right? We saw that play out. We saw, I believe his name was Keita, if I'm not mistaken. Keita basically passed the ball very quickly to Mane. Salah was also ready to run. You can just see the fast reaction coming from Mane and Salah. They basically ran, and then, like I said, the goalkeeper was coming out. He did not even kicked the ball correctly. He actually miskicked the ball. Mane took over the ball. He had possession, and then he puts the ball into the back of the net. I'm not going to feel bad for the goalkeeper and the performance, because if a goalkeeper is going to be coming out, right, and I'm speaking about Rulli, right, Rulli, who was the goalkeeper for Villarreal, if you're going to be coming out like in that way and you're going to be taking that big risk, at the very least, try and aim for the ball. At the very least, do not miskick the ball, because the players are going to be counting on you. Like, I would get it if, like let's say, for example, you actually kick the ball correctly, but it goes back to like another player from Liverpool and they kick it into the goal. I would get that. But you actually miskick the ball. Like, if you're going to come out, at the very least, touch the ball. And so it was just another big turnaround game coming from Liverpool. They were stronger, they were braver, they were faster, mentally, physically. And that's basically it, right? Liverpool did pass through. They did win within this game 3-2, and I'm just going to have to give my respects towards Villarreal, like I've always said, right? And especially with Unai Emery. Unai Emery has done a tremendous job with this club. He has maximized the players that he does have. Like, for example, Pau Torres has had one hell of a season. Albuel has also had a great season. He has been one hell of a center back, even though he's like 35, 36 years old. He was really out there destroying other top clubs in Champions League football. And then also with Lo Celso, right? There's been many players within this squad that has been maximized because of Unai Emery. He has done a tremendous job. I have nothing but respect for this team. But in the end, it was Liverpool's night and what they have done on that Champions League night. Salah did get what he wanted, and this is the reason on why, right? I have talked about this first before we even get to the City versus Real Madrid match. Salah basically got what he wanted, because after this match was over, after Liverpool has advanced, the journalists, right, the media were asking Salah, hey, who would you rather face on that Champions League final now that you, right, Salah, are in the Champions League final? And this is what Salah had to say. I want to play Real Madrid in the final. I have to be honest. We already played them in a final and lost. So if you asking me personally, I want to play Real Madrid. And boy, let me tell you that this really grew on me, because I'm like, okay, if Salah's asking for this, I have a slight feeling that this may actually happen, because we know what Real Madrid can do. We know that even though they're down 1-0, 2-0, when it comes to a Champions League night, Real Madrid is always going to react. And you guys know exactly where I'm going to go with this. Now we're going to go into this game between Man City and Real Madrid. Because again, Salah got exactly what he wanted. Real Madrid are in the final. Real Madrid have came back after losing at Man City 4-3. They have won 6-5 in the end. And yes, at one point within this game, right, in the second game, in the second leg between City and Real Madrid, at one point Real Madrid were losing by 2 goals globally. But no, they have came back in the end. It was such a surprising performance coming from Real Madrid. I also do think that it was a very nerve-wracking moment for every Real Madrid fan, for every Man City fan, because we did not know who was going to win in the end. Now, let me stop here just for a second. I know that I have said that when it comes to a Champions League night, Real Madrid always find that way to get through, right? Many were saying that City were going to go through, that this was going to be the time for Pep Guardiola, that he was going to win this year's Champions League, that there's no way Real Madrid is going to go through. Many were saying that City were going to go through. Even I said, okay, yeah, there is a chance that City might go through, even though Madrid do have many magical nights when it comes to Champions League football. But deep down, I just had a feeling, right? I had very mixed emotions, and I know that many of you guys, right, had a lot of mixed emotions. Deep down in our hearts, right? And you cannot lie. You just cannot lie, because I know that many people were thinking in this way. Deep down, we just knew that Madrid were going to find a way to win in this game against City, meaning globally, to go into the next round, to go into the final. Many of us didn't know that. We had that sense within us, and I felt like some of these Manchester City players felt that way too, because of how they fell down in those last 15 minutes of the game. And I'm going to be explaining why I'm saying this, because what we did not see in this match was not, I'm not going to be talking about tactical things and all of these tactical moves that Pep Guardiola did or Ancelotti did, because what happened on this night was just so unexplainable. It was not even football anymore. It was just like something that was part of the nature of this sport. Like, this was supposed to happen. Like, Real Madrid is meant to go into the final, like, because of the way that they have been playing against, like, the Chelseas, the PSGs, and every other club. We saw how Real Madrid were getting through, even though they were not the best team on that night, even though they were not playing the most entertaining football of that night. Many of us were saying Madrid were just going to find a way. And let me speak for a City's fans perspective, right? Because I know that many of us, right, you City fans, or I'm speaking for everybody here, every City fan that's watching this video here, I know that it was a very frustrating moment, a very confusing moment. Many of you guys were saying, yes, this is so true. Like, this is something that Pep would do. Like, we would have a 2-0 lead and then bottle it in the last 5 minutes, right? I know that this is a very confusing, frustrating moment for every Man City fan. And so let's talk about that, right? Because to be very honest, if you were to ask me who was the better team on this night, right, even if it's just by a little margin, not by like a big margin, I would say it is Pep Guardiola City. They played beautiful football. The way that they scored, the way that they were passing, the way that they have almost outplayed Real Madrid in every area of the pitch. They have played beautiful football. They look like they were Champions League final material. But until we hit those last 5 to 10 minutes, I do think that the only player that was very dangerous for Real Madrid in the first like 85 minutes of that second leg, it was Vinicius. Like, props towards Man City and what Pep Guardiola were trying to do. Vinicius was very dangerous down that left flank. We had Kyle Walker defending Vinicius very well, and sometimes when Walker did not do what he was supposed to do and he let Vinicius go through him, there was this one player, I believe it was Diaz, right? One of the center backs for Man City. He was always that center back that was there to cover up for Kyle Walker. That he was like basically the big brother of Kyle Walker. He's like, okay, I got you. If you're not going to be getting Vinicius, if he does go through you, I'm going to always be behind you. And so we saw a 2v1 when it comes to Vinicius versus Kyle Walker and Diaz, right? It was always that type of moment. Vinicius was doing a tremendous job for someone who is that young, right? And especially when it does come to a Champions League at night, he was doing a tremendous job, but he was being covered very well. But we saw City many times throughout those first 85 minutes. They had the upper edge. They looked like the better team. They even scored first at the Santiago Bernabeu. But again, something deep down inside of us, we knew that something was going to happen. That at the end of the day, Man City was facing a team like Real Madrid that is considered as the champions of Europe all the time. They have been claimed champions of Europe 13 times. They have 13 Champions Leagues. Things are always going to turn out so different when you face a team like this. Now look, Mahrez, he did score the first goal, right? And it was a beautiful goal. It was an amazing goal. He did score the goal on the 73rd minute, and I did tweet something on that moment on the 73rd minute, and I said this: even though Mahrez was scoring that first goal for Man City, even though City were winning 1-0 and they had a 2-goal margin, I did say this on Twitter: from minute 70 to 90, this is where Real Madrid likes to play. This is where they get the most of their goals. Man City must stay calm and careful. And what do you know? Like, this is exactly what it happened. Like, if there was one thing that we have to know about Real Madrid, is that most of their goals do come in after the 70th minute. Mahrez scored a goal on the 72nd minute. And so I'm like, there's too much time left. There's still like a lot left to play. I do think that Real Madrid do have the capability to come back. And so we fast forward towards the last 5 minutes of the game, and Real Madrid have obviously scored 2 goals within a span of like 3 minutes, coming from Rodrygo. Rodrygo did score both of those goals. Benzema has an assist, and we also had Asensio making up for that other assist for Rodrygo. And I'm like, oh my God, the Real Madrid really did just come back. Real Madrid has came back with 2 goals within a span of 5 minutes. Like, this would happen to Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. Like, what a unfortunate event for every fan out there, and for the players themselves. They look so frustrated. They look so confused. They're like, what is going on? And I remember, right, we went into that extra time, and then I saw Benzema get a penalty because Real Madrid were giving it. I would say it was a clear penalty. But the moment Benzema scored that third goal, right, of that night, and Real Madrid were winning 6-5 globally, I saw Man City break down. I saw them mentally get broken down. They're like, oh my God, like, what do we do next? How do we react from this? And I'm like, I don't think that Man City is going to be reacting from this, because if there's one thing that we have to know is that Real Madrid, they know how to react in moments like this. City don't have that historic backing on knowing what it's like to be in situations like that. They don't know. And so I knew, and many of us did know, that it was going to go down in that way. And if you want to go like a little tactical when it comes to some tactical things that I did not like, I would say that one of the things that Pep Guardiola should have never done within this match was taking out Mahrez and Kevin De Bruyne. Why would you take out Mahrez after he scored a goal for you? Like, yes, I know that he did not have the best night against Real Madrid, but if he's scoring goals, if you see some type of momentum being built within a player, you don't take that player that scored the goal for you out. And when it comes to Kevin De Bruyne, I don't even think he had a bad game. Like, I know that the media is going to be saying, no, he had a bad game. He looked out of it. He looked so like misplaced within the field, like he's not supposed to be there. I beg to differ. I don't think that Kevin De Bruyne should have never been taken out from this match, because stats do show otherwise. Like, for example, he was the only player in Manchester City within this squad going up against Real Madrid that had the most key passes. He had 3 total key passes. Real Madrid had 2 players that had a total of 3 key passes within that top 3 list. So why would you take that one player out? Kevin De Bruyne also had the most successful dribbles with a total of 3. No other Man City player had that type of number. So why would Pep Guardiola take away a player like Kevin De Bruyne, who was bringing in the numbers, and someone like Mahrez, who did score a goal for you? It was very questionable substitutions. It should have never happened. Like, these were 2 players, and especially for when it comes to Kevin De Bruyne, they gave you that sense of security that, yes, when you have the ball, we're going to be doing something with it. But moving forward from there, when De Bruyne was out and Mahrez was out, every time City had the ball, they had possession, they lost it right back, and they gave the ball right back to Real Madrid, and it gave Madrid that confidence that, yes, we are going to be the champions of Europe. And so that is basically how everything did go down. Again, Real Madrid, I give props towards that team, just like how I did with Villarreal, right? They figured out a way, right? Real Madrid figured out a way. They are the team that is considered as the most successful team of the Champions League. They know how to handle situations like this. Those last like 5 minutes of the 90-minute window and the last like 30 minutes of the extra time really did put something into me where I'm like, I can't even explain what this Champions League night was like. It was entertaining because I was not going for like either of these teams, but I'm just like, this is football. This is what football is all about. Like, you can't predict it. You can't write it. You can't write a story about this. You can't think about a story like this and make it up, right? You can't make up a result like this. This is just what makes football the most special sport in the world. It's because of things and moments like this. And that is it, right? Like, I would really like to know how City's going to be progressing from here. Like, how much more money do they have to spend? I would like to see how City do after this transfer window, right? After everything is all said and done, and we see who wins between Liverpool and Real Madrid. When they get Erling Haaland, are they going to be better? Is that going to be fixing their problem? Is that going to be their number one solution? Because maybe it might be, right? We saw City miss many chances within both of these legs. Like, for example, we saw Mahrez fail to make that cross into the box to go straight to Foden. Pep Guardiola was really mad, right? We saw Foden miss a big chance on that first leg, and we saw many other chances being missed within this second leg. And so maybe Erling Haaland can be that solution for Man City. We'll see how they progress. I have no idea. Could it be just a systematical or a mentality problem that Pep Guardiola is having with this City squad? Who knows how they're going to be progressing? But like I've said, and I'm going to continue to say this, I congratulate Real Madrid. It is their Champions League. Maybe Liverpool might stop them. Who knows? Benzema is the face of this success with his partners of Rodrygo, who has been doing very well, Vinicius, who has been doing very well. But the face of this, of what Real Madrid has been doing, it has been Benzema. He has been having probably one of the best Champions League campaigns that we have seen in a very, very long time. He is a legend. He is going to be coming down as one of the top strikers that has ever graced the game. Benzema is amazing. I do give props to him. I applaud my hands for what he has been doing. And now let's see, right? Let's see what happens on that final between Liverpool and Real Madrid. They have played before, and it was about 4 years ago, back in 2018, where Liverpool did lose, and they failed because of this ridiculous performance coming from this goalkeeper that they had about 4 years ago. I do believe that his name was like Krius, or this is going to be a game where I know that Liverpool is going to want their revenge, and especially for Salah, because of what he did say a few days ago, how he wants to face Real Madrid in that final and just have another go at it. And so it's a beautiful time to be alive, to be a football fan. I cannot wait to see this. I am a huge fan again of what's going to go on here. We are going to be talking about it. And fun fact, the last time Real Madrid actually lost a final, it was against Liverpool in the 1980s, and it was in Paris. This is exactly what's going to happen in a few weeks. We're going to be seeing Real Madrid face Liverpool in Paris. Could Real Madrid break the curse? Maybe. That is everything that they have been doing through this Champions League campaign. And if let me ask you guys this one last question. If you were Klopp, what would you be doing? Like, what are you going to be changing, right? How are you going to be approaching this Real Madrid side after seeing what they have done to this broken Manchester City? What would you do if you were Klopp? So that is going to be wrapping up today's Champions League video. Welcome to this brand new channel. I hope that you guys did enjoy this episode. I am going to be posting way more videos down the line, and so I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.